Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to the Arcana series. We are back today and are super excited to be talking to you all and joining you today as we're coming in with the Devil and Temperance card.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back. So, yeah, last week we talked about the Hangman, new perspective, and the Death card, bringing in that death and rebirth, or letting go and recreation, like that beautiful dynamic. It was very deep. It was yummy. And then we continue today with the
Yes.
Temperance and the Devil. Immediately when we started, Nicolette mentioned that it's like having the
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 angel and
yeah,
the devil on
the
your
devil on the
shoulder.
shoulder. And so the temperance card is one of the cards that eludes me.
Mm.
It's one of those cards that it's just like there's so much to it that you just kind of have to experience it, and it shifts
What,
every
which
time.
one did you say, the devil or
The
temperance?
temperance,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
the
Yeah,
temperance. That
oh,
yeah,
so
it's
much
very
dynamic,
interesting.
so much symbolism to both of these cards.
Yeah,
So if you're joining us and you're in a space where you have your cards handy, go ahead and pull out the devil card and the temperance card. And of course, the first thing we want to encourage you to do is just look at the symbolism. Both of these cards are packed with symbolism, and we're going to get into it.
yeah, powerful. Would you like to do the honors of the meditation to save my throat?
Okay, so everyone, go ahead, and if you are in a space where you can close your eyes, go ahead and close your eyes. And we're just going to settle into your chair. Just let your body just meet the ground or the chair. You're feeling really, really supported. If you're in a space where you can put your feet on the ground, go ahead and do that. Settle in. We're going to take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, you're just going to let all of the stress and worry and anxiety that has maybe been building up for you, you're just going to let it out. And as you're breathing in, you're going to breathe in a gold energy. It's a cleansing energy. You're going to inhale that all the way in. And you're going to see as it just settles into your system, into your energy. And as you exhale again, you're just going to release all of the leftover residue and things that have been wanting to escape. One more deep breath. And as you're sitting, I want you to look at the patterns of your life and the things that are maybe keeping you stuck. And this is going to pop right up for you. It's going to be something, it might be a belief, it might be a habit, it might be a person or someone that's causing you friction. And it's going to be something that's really present for you. You're going to think of it right away. And as you're focusing on that, I want you to recognize the patterns that are kind of keeping you stuck in that dynamic. And as you recognize the patterns, you're going to start being able to, kind of like Legos, you're just going to start putting the pieces together like a puzzle, which is going to help you see the whole view of it so much clearer. And that's when you're going to be able to truly let it go, because you're going to understand the patterns, that you're going to have a better understanding of why you're staying stuck in this dynamic in the first place. And with that clarity comes an enormous sense of calm, of realignment, of peace. And when you're ready, let's take one more deep breath in. And out. And open your eyes when you're ready. And we'll get into the Devil and Temperance.
That was deep.
Mm-hmm.
That was really deep.
Of course it is. It's the Devil and Temperance we're talking
Uh-huh.
about. And I do want to say this is a big piece of the devil. So we talked a little bit last week about some of these major we were calling it master class
Yeah.
master cards. And the devil is definitely one of those. And the devil is also a card that people have a lot of fear around, a lot of hesitation. And what I have come to understand, and I just want to share this right at the beginning so people have this clarity as we're digging into this, is a big part of the devil is our patterns, and recognizing our patterns so that we can make different choices. When you look at the symbolism on the card, of course, you have the devil, who's a big feature in the center. You have the two people that are chained together, that are at his feet.
Yeah.
And um, to me, the devil is it. This is not something that's external to us. This is us choosing familiar, even when it's uncomfortable. This is us choosing to continue a habit even though we know it's not good for us. And a lot of times it's because it's easier, it feels safer to do what we've always done than to break out of it, and having that uncertainty that can come along with it. So of course we're always talking the cards always represent parts of us. And the devil card is no different. Absolutely. And so this isn't something that's external. We don't ever consider it to be that. This is something that is reflecting inside of us. It's a part of us that we are that can kind of show up in our life, but it's always through our own actions usually.
Yeah. It looks like we're going straight to the devil, right?
I guess.
And then
Sorry.
the temperance. So
Yeah.
let's go ahead and keep talking about the devil card. So first, the devil card reminds me, and I wonder if you guys will see this too. It reminds me of the lover's card. I feel like it's the continuation from the lover's card. It has the same characters, but this time instead of the angel, it has the devil. And
Yeah.
this is one of the cards, again, like Nicolette said, the master card. I keep trying to say masterclass, mastercards. And it's because it's one of the cards that a lot of people are afraid of because again, the dogmatic tie to religious
Mm.
symbol of the devil. And in this case, the devil is talking about your shadows, is bringing in all that is elusive to you, all that is hidden, that no longer serves you to the surface so you can face it. So I always tell my students that when they receive the devil, they get to a gateway where it's like the devil's advocate, where you're being shown, do you want to continue doing this? Or do you want to do that? Oh, you want to do this? Well, let's test it out. Do you still want to do that? No? Okay, then we're going this way. That's kind of like how that card works with our energy to help us to release and fine tune and also make the better choice for us. So it kind of is quizzing us, is making sure that what we've chosen is what we want to choose, not because someone told us to choose it. So it does play the devil advocate, but it does push your shadows to the forefront, and then anything that might have been basically all the illusions also
Mhm.
get pushed to the forward so you can part the veil and actually see what is behind it clearly. It is a powerful card to work with.
It is. It's a powerful card, and that's why it's considered one of the master cards, I think, also. Um, and I love that you pointed it back to the Lover's card. You're right. There's so much some similar symbolism. And both of these cards is a matter of choice.
Yes.
Um, a lot of times when you're working with the Devil card, it's because you're being asked to choose. And sometimes, like Abigail said, when we're looking at the shadows, those shadows need to be illuminated, so that we can recognize. It's hard to choose when we don't have all the information and all the pieces that we need to be able to see. So for me, a lot of times when I have, been working with the devil card, the devil's shown up for me, it's illuminating pieces that I've either intentionally not looked at, or that were hidden from me,
Yeah,
and giving me more information so that I can make a different kind of choice.
exactly. When you look at the, one of the symbolism is the chains that
Yeah.
are bound in the lovers. I'm going to say the
Mhm.
lovers in the card.
Yeah.
And so this card really, well, first of all, when you look at it, fear is the first thing that it triggers in most people. Because it's like, oh my gosh, is this devil thing? They are in chains. Oh my God, right? Fear is the first theme that pops up. Second theme is what is chaining you down? What is holding you back? What have you bound to that is not for your highest good? So you can see already just by looking at this card, things are being kicked up to the surface. But the beauty of the devil is that it's not showing you that so you can wallow and be scared and be stuck in it. It's gonna also guide you and navigate you through it if you say yes to the invitation.
I mean, you can stay stuck in it. You
You
can wallow
can.
in it, and a lot of
Choice.
people do.
Absolutely,
And
with the
and
choice, right?
it's that choice. And I think it's funny because people think a lot of times when people think of the devil, it's like this external energy that's going to come in and taint.
Yes, that's true.
And for me, this card is so much about our own shadows, about the things that, and when I say shadows, I think that can have like a lot of different meanings to a lot of people. It's not necessarily always super dark. It might just be a belief that was planted way before you even had the awareness of it, that you keep
Yeah.
looping on, and it's keeping you trapped in a reality that isn't for your highest and best. It can
Yeah.
be as simple as just I'm trying to think of like an example of something that is kind of like not as big of a deal but can kind of still keep us looped, like our eating habits, for instance,
Yes.
right? If we're eating a lot of junk food, eating a lot of processed foods, um we're not going to feel great about ourselves. We're not going to feel good in our bodies. Um, it's not like it's this really dark thing, but it really has this big impact on how we feel and like how we're living in,
Absolutely.
and so that's why I always say it's a lot of times it's connected to our habits and our beliefs and the energies that we're letting in to our environment, like the people we're spending time with, and the ideas that we are letting kind of uh percolate around us, right? Any of those things can be things that really keep us trapped. I always think of it as things that are really keeping us stuck to this
Yes.
particular reality, that a lot of times when you break that thing or stop it, like a whole new world is going to open up for you. Like when we're
Absolutely.
talking about manifesting and shifting our reality, a lot of times we have to first identify the thing that's
Yeah.
keeping us tethered. And that's what I think of when I think of the devil.
Absolutely. This is one of those cards that when you have a key to go with it, it lets you know exactly which realm you're working in, like whether you're doing it mentally or emotionally or
Mm,
physically or
mm.
spiritually, because then it can fine tune it. It's like this is where the work is. Because
Yeah,
when you look
that's
at it
helpful.
overall,
That's
it can be
helpful.
overwhelming. Yeah,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, that could be anything. You
Yes.
start thinking about emotionally what could be, mentally, all the thoughts that it can be
We
overwhelming.
all have multiple things that
We
are,
do. And we
yeah,
have layers of it, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
the with the devil, it's like, and I love that you defined shadow, because it's funny because yesterday I was talking to my 6 year, seven, he's seven.
Mm.
My gosh, it's crazy. Is he seven yet? Yeah, he is seven. Oh my gosh.
Just turned 7.
Yes, they're
It's
seven.
hard
Oh
sometimes.
my God, that's a big one. Okay, we were just having a conversation because he talks about seeing shadows, and I'm
Mm,
like, so I'm trying to explain what shadows mean, and I was like, shadow means without light. If you
mm.
take that definition and you go into yourself, you look into your psyches, all the areas of you that the light hasn't touched yet, which means that you're not aware of. So
Mm,
it
that
might be something that happened to you that you shut the door on and forgot about it. Remember, what in the psyche, I think I see the human psyche as a house. You
mm.
can imagine it as a house, and each door leads to an aspect of you. And sometimes something happens, we put in the door, and then we close it, lock it, and then we lose the
I
key. And then
never want to see it again. Yeah.
exactly, and then we forget about it. It might be something very tiny, right? And then we forget about it. So
Either
every
we
time,
forget about it or we don't, and it kind of like
yes.
haunts us for, lack.
Yeah, and every time we walk by it, we just create more fear around it. And so it becomes this big thing. And then
Wow.
one day you gain the courage and you open the door, you turn on the light, and you realize it's a couch, right? So the shadow is anything that is not touched by the light, anything that our awareness, our consciousness,
Yeah.
it's not on, if that makes sense. So I want you to think about that more so than bad and good,
Yeah.
evil, and that's not what it's
Yeah.
about. What is it I'm not seeing that is affecting me right now? That is affecting the what I want to create in my life. That's what we're talking about shadow here. And the devil card really does a beautiful, beautiful job at
Of
pushing it
illuminating.
forward so you
Yeah.
can face it dead on, so you can turn that light on and be
Yeah.
like, oh, I've been afraid of a couch
You're
this
like, wait a
entire
minute.
time.
That's
Yeah.
that's what this was. And I've
And then
been like
getting rid of the
going
couch.
around circles. I've been going this whole different route because I didn't want to walk past that room.
Yeah.
Didn't even want to be reminded. And then when you open it up and face it, then it's not nearly as scary as it
Yeah.
was
And
once.
it might be, that one is an easy example because then you open it and you're like, oh, it's a couch. I don't even like this couch. I'm getting rid of it. Right.
Yeah.
And there are times that you might open the door and notice it's your younger self sitting there crying.
Yeah.
Now, that's a whole work that you can, that's a whole healing, or even just being present to your younger self and bringing her out of that room to
Mm,
join you. That's a big healing that happens right there, right?
mm,
So it's funny that this analogy of the house is coming in
mm,
with the work of the devil, right? It's
mm.
going into the rooms that you've forgotten about.
It's so relevant, and it's true that some of these rooms or some of these shadows are because of things that happened to us, not things we chose. So I think that's an important differentiator. And a lot of times it's a lot of times childhood stuff will stick around because it was so present for us, and we were so vulnerable when we were kids and things happened, and in our developing brains and bodies and spirits, it has this really big imprint. And so sometimes these things are you need to connect with a professional, a therapist and someone who can really walk you through facing some of your shadows, because it can be really big, right? And it can disrupt a lot of stuff. But then other times there's things that we just, like you said, need to open the door and say, oh, it was a couch. Silly me. I
Yeah,
think it was a different
I
color.
like those ones because it's easy.
Yes, yes. And so there's
I
different things.
know.
I think the interesting thing, one of the things that I definitely kind of connect to the energy of this card is the shame that can be
Yes.
created around these shadows. And sometimes that's
Absolutely.
the most dangerous part,
Yeah.
because we have the shame. And then when we go to face it, it was just a couch and there wasn't really even anything for us to have shame around. But the shame and the self-judgment can be some of the bigger kind of so the self-destructive. And until we just like are willing to face it and recognize like we are all human, we all do things that are out of our character, or we all make mistakes, we all make choices that were cringy or that we wish we could go back, um and just to kind of have that humanness and understanding with ourselves and other people. Less judgment is a lot of times asked for when we're dealing with the devil, especially self-judgment, forgiveness,
Yeah.
because the reality is we did the best we could at that
Mhm.
time, and now we're choosing different. And
Yeah.
so there's this, I really want to encourage anyone who's kind of moving through something that feels deep and kind of dark in their shadows, to give themselves a lot of grace, a lot of love,
Absolutely. That
because
should be a non-negotiable.
yeah,
Give yourself a lot of grace and compassion.
yeah, and understanding, and get the support you need when you need it, because those are all
Absolutely.
kind of really
You
important.
know, with that, let's talk about shadow work because that's something you see, especially on social media, especially now, like, shadow work, workbook, shadow work, this, shadow.
Mhm.
It's almost like everyone needs to do shadow work. It is, it is work that takes courage.
Mm.
It comes to your life. Like we face the devil card when we're ready. The devil card
Yeah.
doesn't pop up every day for us. It only pops up when we're ready. And it's the same
Or
thing.
either when we're ready or when we have avoided the thing for so long we can no longer avoid it. And then that's when it pops up in a really kind of
Like a pimp
destabilizing
slap,
way.
like a
Like,
cosmic pimp slap.
oh man, like I
Yeah,
keep going through this pattern. I keep not looking at it. I'm hurting people in this process. And the devil will show up and say, okay, enough. Like
enough.
your time is
But
up.
even that, it'll probably be a different card that comes in first before the devil to like
Oh yeah.
start the pimp
Sure,
slap.
like the tower or something.
Yeah, exactly. The tower
Yeah.
would be the first,
Yeah.
and then the devil will come in
But
to help
but
you.
sometimes the devil kind of pops its head up, because
Yeah.
it's like it kind of will be like the actions you're taking,
Yes,
you know what
exactly.
I mean? That, and so you see this thing and you're like, oh, I'm gonna do that even though I know I shouldn't, or even though I have shame around it, I have guilt, I'm gonna do it. And then it's that was your choice. You could
Yeah.
have chosen differently, right? So it kind of like will like pop up like hi, and
Are
then
you
it's like,
sure? You sure
yeah,
you want to go there
yeah,
again? Remember last
exactly.
time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then maybe if you keep avoiding it, then the tower comes,
It's
and
like,
then
okay, we're gonna
it's gonna.
crack this down. And then
That's
you have
true.
no
The devil
choice.
doesn't just show up like full
Yeah.
on usually. It's more of like the tower, the death card,
Yep.
that's gonna come
They're
in.
the
But the devil is actually gonna come in before it.
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
true.
So going back to the shadow work, the way social media is glamorizing it. I want you to face shadow work or go into it with a lot of reverence because you're
Mm,
going to parts of yourself. There's a reason why you turned your back on these parts of yourself. There's a reason why you shut the door and closed it and ran away because
mm.
it's deep. If it happened when you were younger, you didn't have the tools for it. You didn't even have the environment to support you to go through it.
You
There's
didn't have the
why.
awareness, you didn't have anything else.
Yes,
And it's almost always self-protected. Like
it
that's
is.
why
Yeah.
we have it. That's why we didn't look in the door. There was part of us was protecting another part of us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I wanted to bring this like if you choose to go into shadow work, I want you to be like, I am doing this and I'm all in, be fully present with the work, and
Mm,
make sure you have the tools to support you. Make sure you're talking to the therapist. Make sure
mm.
you have the healer doing some energy work on it. Like, make sure you have, like, taking the bubble baths, like being gentle on
Drinking a
yourself.
lot of
Like,
water, eating
like
healthy
it's a
foods,
non
like
negotiable.
nourishing yourself, because
Yeah,
it is gonna stir up. There's the potential of it stirring up so much that your whole, like, not only your inner self, but your world can kind of feel like it's
absolutely.
in shatters
And I
sometimes
see
for a while.
people, they think about like journaling for like the journals that they have. They're like, oh, I'm just gonna journal my shadows. Like you're still you're bringing light to these areas. You're awakening these areas. So you got to be ready for it. It
And
might
not,
be a simple thing as writing down, but subconsciously you're bringing light there. And that's
yeah,
going to activate that healing. So when you're in, choose again, bringing that one of the themes, the important themes of the devil, choose to be present with the
yeah,
process. And in doing that, you're choosing to be present with yourself
yeah.
as you're moving through this, and
That's the
then have
ultimate thing.
grace, immense grace for yourself. Like treat yourself good as you're moving through that. Give space for whatever that healing is. Like don't even don't
Yeah,
take
this
it as
is
a
like a
joke.
side conversation. This isn't
Yeah,
something that you just kind of like casually brush up against. And if you do, just know that there's a good chance you're going to be unlocking more than you kind of bargained for.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
if you want to start going into these kinds of conversations and these reflections, then be prepared for kind of things to start popping up in different places of your life that you didn't even think about it being connected to, right? All of a sudden, these conversations and different kinds of relationships, or you're recognizing this is, showing up over here in your work. There's places that you're probably not going to anticipate
Yeah,
that this thing that you have been avoiding is actually impacting these different places of your life that you never would have guessed it would have
yeah,
been present in, because
exactly.
it's a dynamic, like, our psyches are very dynamic, like energetic
Yes,
mazes, really.
it's quite gorgeous.
You know what? Talking about maze, you know what I think of when I think of the devil? And this came through not too long ago for me. I had this realization as I'm writing my book, because I talk a lot about the shadows that I
I
had to look at
remember.
and face.
Yes.
And one of the things that I recognized that I went through, um that kind of influenced the book and then moved through me as I created the book, is it was like a labyrinth. And the devil card can feel like a labyrinth because you can feel really stuck in the ecosystem of whatever it is.
Mm.
And I recognized that I didn't only make it out of the labyrinth, I created a map so that other people had a tool to follow, a map, just guide points to be able to see themselves in the things that were showing up for them in their experience, as well as what might be showing up for other people that they're around.
Oh, this is interesting. As I'm listening to, have you seen the movie Pan's Labyrinth? Pan's Labyrinth. I think
Like a
it's
long
like
time ago. That was an
they,
old movie. Was that the David
yeah,
Bowie one?
and they speak a different language. I think it's German or it's a different
Oh,
language
wait.
with the kid.
Was that the David Bowie one?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
Okay, okay. I'm glad you said that. Yeah, this one, it might be no. David
Okay.
Bowie's one is Labyrinth.
Okay.
One is
Okay. Pan.
Pan's
Oh,
Labyrinth.
I don't know if I have seen
It's
it.
like it's an international, like they speak a different
I'm
language.
gonna go look. I'm
And
curious now.
it's very interesting because just to to make it short, it's a story about a family that moved, it's the mother and the daughter, and they moved because the mother remarried to a general, and they moved to this old house with a beautiful labyrinth in the back, a beautiful garden. And the girl, well, the mother was pregnant with the new child, and the girl basically met this creature, which is the
Hmm.
Pan's Pan. It looks like the devil card, like with the horn. It's like the nature deity. There's a word for it, a name for him. It's like that same thing. And he was like given her task to do to collect things to save her baby brother. And at the end, I mean, it's such a fascinating movie because it was like she had to go on these journeys to learn about herself and her selfishness, and in the same way her selflessness, and like
Yeah.
challenged her to really, and at the end she ended up giving her life to save her mother and her brothers, and
Oh,
also to protect them because the general wasn't a good person at the end. But
wow.
it was
That is so deep. And I think there's so much truth. Because the other thing with the devil card and these kind of shadows and the pieces of us, those it's like the creature giving us the, like, kind of the tempting us, or or pulling us
puzzles
toward,
that we have to
yes,
figure
the
out.
little
Yeah,
clues. is that a lot of this is generational.
Yeah.
Uh, it is lineage. And some of these things might not even been anything that you had anything to do with whatsoever. It might have
Yeah.
been long before you came that these were imprinted in your DNA, in your nurturing. And so it's just such a beautiful reminder that we get to choose, though, ultimately. But we have to be able to see it. And we have to be
Ooh.
willing to see it.
You just gave me an idea. Again, with the same analogy with the house, our psyche as the house. I used to
Mm.
do these meditations where I'll take them in that house and we would explore and then decorate and kind of remodel and kind of create our
Wanted it.
own, like, make it good. And
I
then I
love
was
it.
thinking, I was like, when you talked about generational and ancestral, I was like, some people might have inherited houses that are not even theirs and they think it is. They're living in a house that's not theirs, which means that they've never seen their own home. They've never seen
They
their
don't
own
even
house.
know what home feels like
Yeah.
because they've just inherited this home. And how often does this happen? Where we inherit something and we don't stop to question it. We just think this is how it's always been.
Yes.
Either this is how it's always been, or you don't even have the
Or you
awareness
don't
around
even
that.
know. Yeah.
Or you kind of feel trapped in this, like, okay, you live here because we're giving you this house. Of course you're going to live in this house then, because who wouldn't? That would make me a terrible person if I wasn't grateful to get to live in this house you gave me, even though you hate this house. You hate everything about this house. You don't enjoy this house. You don't like where it's at. You don't like the style of this house. You would never choose this house, but who would you be if you chose a different kind of house?
Mm. Ooh,
Wow. There's so
deep,
much here, you guys. So anyway,
deep. I
so
was again, this is one of the cases where if the clues, the devil kept coming in to be like, "Hey, are you sure this is your house? You
yeah.
sure? You sure? You sure you want to keep living here?" And you didn't listen. The tower will come in, and what happens? The house will crumble, and all of a sudden, it looks like you're in the open. You're like, "What now?" And
And then
then
you
you
feel
get to
really
rebuild.
vulnerable.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
you get to build.
it's not always linear.
Exactly.
That's the other thing. Sometimes you're sitting in the emotional rubble while still sitting in the house.
Yes. Oh my God.
And so sometimes there's levels and phases of this. And my book, The Golden Thread and the
Yeah.
Lineage of the Light, it really digs into so much of the shadow and the light
Yeah.
aspects of our archetypes and like who we are. So when that's getting ready to be published in early 2026. So I'll be sharing a lot more and I'll have to circle
Yes.
back around because I think anyone who's interested in kind of like dancing with this, understanding it. One of the things, and I've had this really big awareness around the fact that it's really about observing our patterns, observing the patterns of life, observing the patterns of other people. Like once you can start seeing the patterns, you really start realizing there it's not as much of a mystery as we thought. And that we have so much more control and choice when we start seeing it. But it's not for the faint of heart. And
Yeah.
looking at your shadows is never an easy thing, even if it's a small thing, even if you open it up and it's a couch, there's still could be layers of things. Now you have the shame because you let it sit there for so long.
Yeah.
There's so many parts of this. So again, giving yourself a lot of grace, a lot of love, a lot of understanding. And I think the more we can do that for ourselves and other people, we just end up having a really more equitable life for everyone.
Yeah.
And people are able to have healthy relationships. People are able to find work situations that really align with them, and people are able to pick where they live
Yeah.
and choose with intention. And so it's
And here's the thing. It starts with you. You do it for yourself. The rest, because once you take care of yourself, you're good to yourself, you speak good to yourself, it's
Mhm.
gonna ripple into whoever you come in contact with.
Definitely.
So
And
that's
people
why
are going to
these
be
cards,
inspired by it.
yeah, like
People are
that's why
going to
these
see it
cards
and be
like,
like, wow, you
Yeah,
seem really centered now. You seem really grounded. There's a
yeah,
peacefulness about you. I saw that you broke that habit, and now look at you, you're doing this thing over here. So, but it really just starts with
it
yourself
starts with
and
you. Yeah,
asking yourself the questions of like, why am I doing this? Or
yeah,
why, what is it that is not, where is the friction coming from? And starting to open up some of those doors.
exactly.
Like giving yourself a lot of grace and just knowing that I think people do handstands and somersaults not to have to face these things a lot of times. And unfortunately, you're just going to continue to wear yourself out. So, most of the time, I think we have to confront it. We have to at least be willing to look at it and see the pattern and see it, to be able to actually be able to move through it. We can't just kind of gaslight ourselves out of like having that as part of our experience,
Yeah. Here's the
unfortunately.
thing, to be honest, it is easier to face it than
Yeah.
to walk away from it and not do the work because you end up creating this
Mhm.
whole mess around it and it makes it harder and harder. So, an
Yep.
example, this is a great example. My son, like when he gets like cold, I put like what do you call this, saline nasal spray to help clean it
Uh,
and get into it. Like he's just like scared. Oh my gosh, he freaks out,
Yeah.
and then I'll spray it. And then he's like, oh, that wasn't bad. Every
Yes.
time,
Like,
every
yes.
single time. I'm like, did you forget you just did this? But every time he'll be scared, he'll fight it, and then I'll do it. He's like, oh, that wasn't that bad. And it's the same thing.
Yeah.
We when we step in through our mind, we create this huge monster of it and all the potential of what could happen and what could not happen that is not even real. And then when we're able to break through it and actually get to the center of it, we realize that all this around here and there's just this small thing that we need to really face. That's the true work.
Yeah.
So it's actually easier to face it than to walk away from it.
And once you start kind of going deep and digging up some of these deeper shadows, some of these older ones, maybe your bigger things that have kind of influenced you, once you start doing that and coming back to yourself, then when new things come up, you're like quick to like confront it. Like, okay, you just want to get to it and nip it out
Yeah.
because we know that if you're just going to keep, sweeping the dust under the rug, it's just going to turn into a bigger pile.
Yeah.
And so you just are like, oh, let me get that and sweep that up because that's just a small little thing I need to deal with now.
Yeah.
And so it's so worth it. There
Exactly.
is no thing that doesn't, in my experience, it has been the most important thing I have done for my overall well-being, and for my relationships, for the work that I do for every part of my life
Yeah.
really is just being willing to sit with the shadow sometimes, to look at it, to not be so afraid of it, and then to start kind of moving past it. So
The shadow aspect of ourselves want to be reintegrated into the fullness of who we are.
mhm.
That's what they want. They're not there to torture you or hurt you. I think those are residual from what we think is part
Yeah,
of what we create
it's
around it.
this
Yeah,
the polarity over good and bad.
exactly.
And a lot of times these really deeper things that, the shadows that we're looking at have the biggest impact. They have the biggest opportunity for impact, of change in our life. So it's really just like these little gold nuggets. But the trick is they're wrapped in a turd. So
Exactly. Exactly. No, you got it perfectly. Yeah.
so you
Yeah.
have to be willing to like, move through the turd to get to the gold. So
Exactly.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's transition over to
Wait,
temperance.
hold on.
Oh,
Before, this is the last one. Last
okay.
thing I'm
Good.
going to say with the devil, with the invitation that comes in, the divine universe, your own soul, your team, like you will never receive something that you don't have the strength for or the courage for. You will whatever work opens up for you to face,
Mm,
trust that you have everything you need to move through that.
mm,
The divine will never give you something that you're not prepared for.
yeah.
If you face it, you're ready for it. And you got to trust it. Even if you can't see the tools that can help you, you
Yeah.
have it. And
And
when you
sometimes
step
it
in,
does feel like a part
yeah,
of you it goes back to, like, the death part of you is dying, it feels so scary, so, vulnerable, I
yeah,
think, but you are so supported, and don't be afraid to ask for help. It's really
yes,
part of this, is call on your support, call on your seen and unseen support when you're dealing with some of these bigger, darker kinda topics. Make sure you are calling in the support that's gonna hold you, that's gonna be able to, really help you maneuver through it, 'cause
yeah,
it can be a lonely journey, and, in the shadow, it's dark. So sometimes we need someone to come and hold a light for us.
absolutely. Well said. Okay, now we can
Okay,
transition.
friends.
So, temperance.
Mm,
Temperance, the word that comes in is alchemy. I think that's why it feels so elusive because
mm.
it's about converting something into something,
Uh-huh.
shadow into light. And actually, I'm laughing because it's paired with the devil
It
card. It
yeah.
comes in to take the coal and transform it into gold. So in a way, it illuminates just like with the devil card. It's like, where are all the coals in your life? Where are all the coals? Let's find all the coals. And then now let me teach you how to find the gold within the coals.
It's interesting because it really is a lot of times you have to move through those this devil and
Yeah,
these
to
things
find
to
it.
be able to transmute, the pain into purpose or the, coal into gold or the whatever it is. And so it is probably I don't know, I feel like I say this almost every time. It's one of the most energetically charged
Oh, yes.
cards, and the vibrancy,
Yeah.
of this card is so magnetic. Um, I don't think that a lot of people get to really experience like, here's the deal, you guys. You may never get to experience the temperance if you're not willing to look at the devil.
Mm, mm, mm. Say that again.
You might not get to experience the temperance if you aren't willing to look at the devil and the shadows and the things. And so I think it's really the idea, of alchemy is literally turning one energy into something else. And so to recognize, first of all, we have the ability, we are creators. We create all the time, we're constantly creating. But we are automatically creating
Yeah.
based on how we think and how we feel in our environment. And those are the things that are dictating how much we feel like we can create.
Mm,
And so when you can kind of prime all of these things, that's when people become like master manifestors because
mm.
they've already like tuned in all of these pieces and looked at all these things and moved through their shadows. And then they're like, oh, okay, I'm in a spot where I can understand. I know myself. I know what I actually want. I'm not doing this from a place of people pleasing or doing this for, you really are like more anchored into your own reason and intention for what you're creating.
Like, let's look at the symbolism. So
Yeah.
immediately, I see one of the keywords for the temperance is balance. And if you look, the angel has one foot on the earth and one in the water, has the two cups with the water flowing from one to the other. And then the angel itself is balanced by the two huge wings.
Mhm.
I guess the theme of balance is huge here.
And the nature.
And
So
yeah,
much nature. His feet are in the water, the grass,
hmm,
the mountains. It's also interesting that there's that crown. I never recognized the
which
crown.
crown?
Oh, wait, right here. There's a crown on mine. Look.
Oh, mine, I always saw it as oh, yours look like a crown. Mine, it just looks like the
It's
sunrise,
sun, but it looks
the
like a
rays.
crown,
Yeah,
but it
yours
also
has the
kinda
crown.
looks like it also kinda looks like it could be like a lotus or something too, like a flower maybe. I don't know,
That's
it's interesting.
cool.
I really recognized that before now. It's kinda cool.
I love it because you have the path
Yeah.
starting from the water, weaving through into the mountains, and then
Yeah.
you have the sun right there. Yeah,
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
It says a lot about our journey.
Yeah. And then the balance of the angel who is literally pouring the water from the cups. But it's like I don't even think it doesn't even look like pouring to me. I feel like that's kind of the alchemy of it because it
Yeah,
almost looks like it's just
it's just flowing.
replacing yeah, like you I don't know how to explain it, but like transferring like zinc, like the cups
Yeah,
like gravity. Um the energetics around this card and the connection with the angel. I think and nature. I mean, the nature in this is probably one of the most practical parts in a way as far as how we can connect to our own temperance.
hmm,
Because I don't know, I can't think of a time where I went out in nature and sat in nature and felt out of alignment
hmm,
with the energy of the environment, at least. You might fall out of alignment internally, but I can't think of ever a time where I like intentionally went and was spending time in nature and that didn't feel really nurturing and really
yeah,
energetically charged. And so I think there's something to be said. A lot of the major arcanas are going to connect us to nature. And I think it's so important for us to really spend time as often as possible intentionally connecting with nature. And I think that is one of the ways that helps us to end up alchemizing the things that we need to alchemize so that we can have the best experience that we want to live and experience.
yeah. I was looking at the symbolism of water and earth. Water representing the emotions,
Mhm.
and then earth representing our reality in our bodies. And the
Mm.
balance between it's almost like to find balance, you have to keep one foot
Mm.
present in your body, present in your life, and the other in your
In your
heart.
emotional wellness, like your
Yeah.
awareness, your emotions. We were talking about this, Abigail and I were talking about this, and I was saying how this podcast, it started with Abigail and I um having accountability calls and we were doing working together in these different ways and we would get started on these conversations and we realized how valuable the conversations were because one thing that happens and this probably happens to you too for anyone who's listening is there's things that you're really good at and you just don't recognize it because it's just something you're good at, you just kind of take it for granted. And one of the things that Abigail and I are both so intentional, and just I think naturally kind of skilled at is having this awareness about ourselves and about humans, like just like what kind of and it's because we've spent so much time connecting to ourselves. That's
Yeah.
why. And working with other people to help them connect to themselves. So it's not like we just happenstance did this, but I guess what I'm saying is every conversation we have is going to connect us back to our emotional wellness. It's going to connect us back to the way we think about things, our mindset, how powerful our thoughts are. It's going to connect us back to our spiritual practice and our connection to spirit and how spirit is always like a living energetic force, regardless of whether we're
Yeah.
connecting to it or not. And it's going to connect us back to the reality that we are living every day, this really practical 3D reality that tends to kind of bump up against everything that we're experiencing. So, this I think a lot of people think, oh, this some people might like hear this and think that's a lot of fluff, but if when you start really listening, we're talking about how to have healthier relationships and how to connect deeper to your truest self so that you can find a career that you're more passionate about, so that you can be more feeling like you're more present with your kids or your partner. Like it's all very tangible. This isn't fluff when you really start talking and getting into it.
Yeah. I'm even looking at, so I'm looking at in this card, it's actually all the elements present in a way.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yep.
water is very clear,
Yeah.
and then earth is very clear. But air, air is around, and then you
Yeah.
have fire. Fire is the sun and also the angel's wings, the red
Mhm.
as
That's true.
fire. And
Yeah.
then you have, which one am I missing? We have earth, water, air. Yeah, fire.
Yep.
Yeah,
All of it.
all of it. So it's telling you how to find your balance. It
Mhm.
this card teaches you how to find your balance, having all those aspects of yourselves in line, finding the like how they connect, because the alchemy is bringing them together. It's not just identify like, oh, this is fire, this is it's about how can you bring it together to create something new, right?
Mhm.
And I feel like this card really helps you identify that and then leads you home to that, whatever that is, which
It's and
yeah.
it's beautiful too because it reminds us how powerful we are, how what
Mm,
powerful creators we are, I think. But in order to be a creator, we have to have balance.
absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, we're all creating all the time, but to intentionally create, to transmute, to create
Yeah.
the alchemy, which is also really present in my book. So I think that's interesting too, because
Yeah.
when I channeled and then performed the alchemy of goodbye, I was turning pain into purpose. And through the process of doing that, I didn't realize I was turning pain into purpose. I thought I was just creating a ritual that was going to help me release a lot of pain. And I was looking at my shadows and facing it. But as I went through that whole process, which is interesting because there was water, there was fire, there was earth, there was air, like all of the elements were so, so present. Um, then things just started. Once I went through that, like the whole the idea for the book came up and I wrote like 9 chapters in a month and then the rest of it came through in the next couple months and I ended up connecting with like this like long lost part of my family and having all these opportunities that were connected to my business. And so it really was alchemy. And so sometimes we don't always have to know where, like, we have to kind of be moving in the direction, but it wasn't like, I'm gonna transmute this pain into creating this opportunity to connect with my family and have connect with this town that has my ancestor and where I end up doing retreats. It wasn't that intentional. So allow the magic, allow the things that want to come through that you can't even envision for yourself yet to be able to come through just by doing the things that you know you have to, by processing, by listening, by following your own intuition.
Yeah. I love that the head of the angel is like, I'm gonna use the word exalted.
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
know where that word comes in, but
Yeah.
even the hair matches
And
this
it's like, does he have like a what's on his head?
that round.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, isn't it? It's like right at the center of the forehead.
Yeah, it's like it's almost kind of reminding me of like a third eye. And then the like around his head is like the circle.
Yep.
And so you can tell there's a lot of energy. He's thinking, he's
There's
using
a
his
lot of energy in
capacity.
the head.
He's really thinking about it, right? He's being intentional. He's thinking. It's like
Is it thinking, or is it the
it,
crown activated, which means that you're connected to the higher?
yeah, maybe
Because
that and both.
the sun, the symbolism usually is connected to the divine or God, or that's usually like the symbol for it.
Uh,
And the color, it matches that. So I wonder if it's like,
and around the angel, so it would make sense that it's like the
yes,
connection, like your channel to like spirit.
yeah, you're channeled to the higher,
But it does
connected to the
also
higher
feel
self.
like mental in a way. Like there's some energy around it that does feel like focused thought or maybe clear thought. Maybe like no thought, like balance, like clearing, like a meditative
Yeah.
state, which I think,
Meditative state. Yeah,
yeah,
I see that. Yeah.
yeah, because I think sometimes our most powerful state for our brains and our thoughts is when we are in that meditative state. Because it's like we get out of our own way. We think we
Mm-hmm.
know everything, but when we can actually get in, tap into that meditative state, that's when we can actually have such a big, like the energetics around it. So,
Yes. Yeah.
so much here. There's so much here.
Absolutely.
And I think some of the things that might come up for you if you're working with the temperance is where are you maybe out of balance in your life? Maybe is there places where you're giving more than you're receiving?
Mm.
Or is there places that are taking up unnecessary space or time that aren't giving the rest of your life a place to kind of materialize?
Yeah.
So that's something that is very present. And then how presence is a big piece of it. How present are you being? Because I think if we're constantly moving, if we're constantly going, if we're constantly moving to the next thing and not giving this life a chance to speak to us, Um, it's probably gonna be hard to really come to the place where you're gonna be able to be in temperance.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
So it might be asking you to kind of slow down. It might be asking you to connect with nature.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Also, what needs to be integrated? What parts of you need to be integrated? Especially, this card actually comes before it's interesting because it comes before the devil card,
Yeah, it comes before devil, which is interesting because I feel like it should come after.
right? But then do you remember what card comes before that? Before the
Is it the
temperance?
hangman or is
Because
it
then that would make sense.
death? It's one or the other.
It's one of them. Yeah. Because then that'll make sense how, because if you put those four
Mhm.
in place, you will see the progression of it. Where the hangman gives you new perspective so that you can release the old. And then now with the new perspective, you get to bring together what is you. You get to create the you that is all you, connected in tune, present, right? Fully integrated to the self. And then from there, you get to decide in your life, does this match the true me? Does this not match the true me? And then you make that decision. You choose the right things that are in alignment with you, with the devil, right? So you get to create. And now, like looking forward. Now I'm curious, when we look forward, the cards coming up, like how does that
Yeah, it is. There
journey?
is a story that's being unfolded, but
Yeah.
I'm still gonna stick with what I said. I said what I said. I think it's some people never get to experience temperance because they don't look at the shadow, which is
Well, of
the death.
course.
That makes
Yeah.
sense with the death closing
Yeah.
what that's true. I'm looking
Yeah.
at it now. Um, I'm trying to find, I think it's the hangman that comes before temperance. So,
Before temperance.
yeah, I think it's death and then the hangman that comes
That
next.
makes sense.
Um, I don't know my Roman numeral math.
The
You have to see it because
death card is 13, right?
yeah, it's 13 and
Yeah.
temperance
And then
is
temperance is
14.
14.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it is
So
death first.
hangman, death,
Oh, okay.
temperance,
That makes sense.
devil. It's
That
really
does
cool
make
how
sense.
it's placed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then that does okay, so that can like actually support what I said about the death card and the devil. Like there's a lot of similarity. There's some closeness because I think a lot of times those two work together. Because you a lot of times what is dying, what needs to be kind of closed is sometimes connected to like some themes of the devil. So that's probably why I was
Of
thinking that.
course.
But
The
until you close
tower.
those down, like
Yeah.
if you're leaving these big open wounds out, you're not going to get into this temperate state.
Yeah.
Just you don't get to. And it's not like a punishment. It's just the reality of the energetics and how things work.
Yeah.
Um, and so I hope that anyone who is listening, and if especially if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna get to be in the temperance. I hope you're seeing this as an invitation to just start looking. Just start just start being open to the things that are maybe needing some ending, some closure, so that you can step into that.
Here's the thing, the temperance, I don't want you to think of it as the reward or like the heaven state. Don't think of it that way. The temperance is it's like the realization that you get after you've done the work. It's the
That's a good way to
clarity.
explain it. Yeah, it's like the aha.
Exactly. And that's what Nicolette is saying. Like you
Yeah,
cannot get to the aha if you're not doing the work. It's
that's the
not
best way. Yes,
necessarily
it's
like,
like the realization,
yeah,
the aha. Oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. Like the
yeah.
clarity.
The
Um,
clarity so you can move forward in the
and
right
the
direction.
difference is just clarity. Like it feels so much clearer because like just the vibrancy of it, and the
It's
sky's
anchored,
the
it's
water's clear,
clear.
like everything just
Yeah.
feels clear once you get to that temperance. So it's true. If you it's that like, oh, it's kind of like you had that math problem you couldn't figure out, and then you figured it out, or
And you're like,
that word puzzle, and you're like,
yeah,
oh yes, and you kind of get it. That's that feeling that
exactly.
you get to experience.
Yeah.
So yeah,
You
that's
know, as we travel the path of this journey of the soul through the arcana, the major arcana, you notice the theme of where we get to climb up to the mountain and then we get to come back down and then we get to climb up and come down. And sometimes in the valley, we also get checkpoints. And the devil card is one of the checkpoints. The tower card is one of the checkpoints. The judgment card is one of the checkpoints. And I think it's beautifully placed because we get to actually, just like even another one is like the Mercury retrograde is a checkpoint.
mm.
Where we get to slow down or forced to slow down sometimes so that we can actually evaluate things before we move forward,
And,
and
and
that's,
and to
yeah,
recognize it as a gift. Like all
yes,
of these energies are coming up as a gift to pull us closer to ourselves, for us to have
yes,
these big realizations and understandings so that we can have healthier relationships, so that we can feel more connected to our work, and
yeah,
so that we can fulfill the lives that we're wanting to live. So
yeah,
it's never a punishment.
never,
And, um, and it's always seasonal. We talked about that a lot last call,
yeah.
um, last session season episode
Okay, last time.
episode. Gosh. Um, I kept wanting to say like session, or last episode about seasons, and it's just absolutely true. So we're always in a different season. In some seasons last a longer time, some seasons are really quick. And but there's always an ebb and flow to it, like you said.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're intense and then we get a little break.
Hmm.
Um, and so whatever season you're in, and especially if you're moving in through some of the more intense energies, some of the darker kind of shadowy stuff, just know it's so worth it. And if you confront it, if you're just like, I'm just gonna sit here and wait till this, that might not work. But if you're like, okay, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna watch it and I'm gonna look at this and I'm gonna move through this, you will never be sorry you did it, I don't think. Rarely. But again, get the support you need. Find especially if you're dealing with like a lot of trauma, deeper things, make sure that you're finding a therapist and someone who's qualified to help you move through it. But I think if it's coming up for you, if it's kind of an invitation, like, okay, then there's a good chance you're ready to start looking through it.
Yeah. I wanted to add this to what you said is when you receive the invitation to do the deeper work to face your shadows, you don't need to be in a perfect state to do that. So, like sometimes when you hear someone talk about facing your shadow, doing the work, it kind of almost feels like that person had everything they need and it went smoothly. There's a
Oh,
lot of times that I've been through my shadow kicking and screaming.
usually your shadows don't I mean, I hate to say it, but
It's like,
usually
I
it's
don't,
not
yeah.
like, do I want to look at the shadow? It's like, okay, well, here I am, and I can't not look
Most of
at
the time, I'm like, no, I don't
right.
want to do it.
It's like Xavier with the
Yes.
chemical
And
spray.
it's like, I do, one thing I say about me is like, I don't care how hot that fire that I'm walking through, because I know what's on the other side. I will walk through that fire. I will kick and scream. I will cuss. I will do whatever I need to, but I will make it to the
I
other
will
side
do
because
it.
I know
Yeah.
why. And so
Yeah.
that's the thing. You don't be like, oh, I have to be perfect. I have to smile. This work is tough. Please be
You're
yourself,
probably not
okay?
gonna smile through it.
God.
Like, honestly, you're gonna cry, you're gonna scream, and you're
Oh,
gonna like
yes.
you're just gonna want to like absolutely like crawl out of your own skin sometimes.
Yes.
And all the feelings, everything is likely there's a big spectrum of feelings that potentially could come up for you.
Give space
Um,
for that.
but that is part of what creates the the temperance is
Yes.
when we can sit in the emotional complexity of all
Yes.
those feelings and not necessarily hide from it, not wallow in it, but just let it be there. That's how we get to a place of balance. That's how we get to a place of temperance. That's why you and I know when things come up, we can make it through the other side because we've already done it. We've built up resilience.
Mm.
But I think people who there's some people who have never looked at any of their stuff, like they've spent their whole life avoiding it,
Yeah.
and it those shadows just chase them, and they've like layered on a ton of shame and a ton of like uncertainty. So
It's a
um
mess.
I see it as like a ball of yarn,
Yes.
and now they have this tightly wound ball of yarn that they're trying to
Yeah.
understand. But once you get into it, they don't even know what came from what.
Exactly.
But the sooner you can start like intentionally moving through it, then pretty soon you have like a little yarn ball because you've already untangled the other stuff. So then you can say, oh, that's where that came from. That
Yeah.
happened, and felt
Exactly.
this way about it, and I did this weird thing, or I responded this way, or I'm really proud of like whatever it is. It's
Yeah.
easier to be able to kind of understand it. But the longer we kind of stay with our heads in the sand, the harder the unraveling is a lot of
Yeah.
times. And I experienced that like so full on after my divorce. Here's the deal. It wasn't like I was a bad person and I was didn't have a successful life and happy life before that. It's that there were things I didn't know I needed to look at. And so I just kind of buried my head in the sand, or things I didn't want to because I didn't know how to look at it. And so then life was like, here, the tower came, crumbled everything, things died, and I was left to look at my shadows and the devil.
Yeah. I think as we're moving through life, these cards come in the moment we know or feel in every part of our being that there's something more. There's
Mm,
got to be something more to this job. There's got to be something more to this life. That's where we introduce all these transformative cards to come in to start to help us to sift through what is blinding the past so that we can get to
so true.
what it is that we're
Start
calling
working with tarot unless you want to start understanding the meaning
of
and
yourself
start having
and your
meaning
journey.
attached to you, to your journey, but to everything.
Yes.
There's so much more meaning,
Yeah.
which actually has been such a gift for me because I feel like I kind of was going through life with kind of a fog or like
Mm,
a murkiness. Everything kind of felt dulled, and I think this happens to a lot of people going through life, just going through the checklist, the responsibilities, not really connecting meaning to the things that we're experiencing. And then you pause and you say, "Oh my gosh," and you start unraveling and you start looking and you start peeking under the crevices and you start seeing the meaning in things, and then you can't unsee it, and then things are reverent.
yeah.
Life is reverent. The good is reverent. The bad is reverent. It all is purposeful. And so don't start looking at tarot if you don't want to create more purpose.
Ooh, this episode, I mean, we knew it was gonna be it's gonna be hot. It is absolutely hot, and it makes a lot of sense. It just I feel like more and more people are searching for meaning. They're searching for that deep Who am I? What am I here to do? What am I here for? Show me the way. Like,
What
show
is
me what
life?
it,
Why is
yeah,
this? Why are we moving through this? Like so
yeah,
many of the big,
the big
deep
questions.
questions to help us understand this and help us have a more meaningful existence. Like, I can't think of anything sadder than not attaching meaning to the things that are so, uh, like, so incredibly important. So, yeah. So, yeah, I think,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, so to close it, I want to speak this invocation just to kind of hold us. I feel like
Okay.
it'll be perfect to just hold us through this transformation that we're moving through, because whether or not you receive these cards this month, or you're working with these cards, like
They're
is
gonna
it
come up.
is gonna come up in one of your seasons. We work with them. That's just how we grow and progress and do. That is the work.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully this prayer will just hold us all in that beautiful light as we walk on our journey, wherever we are. Yeah. So, are we ready? Okay. So, just close your eyes and I want you to just place your hand on your heart. Be with your heart, be with the emotions, whatever is kicking up, whether it's the fear, whether it's joy, whatever it is that this has kicked up for you, just be with it. Be with your body, be with your heart. Just calling in all of our higher selves to be fully present within ourselves, within our hearts now. Calling in all of our divine teams to surround us in a beautiful golden circle of light to hold a space for us in love. Calling in divine grace, divine love, divine protection to pour into us and surround our entire being, anchoring into our earth now. Oh, for alchemy, clarity, and liberation, beloved light that lives within us, beloved truth that rises through us. We open our hearts to the sacred meeting of the temperance and the devil. I call upon the temperance, angel of harmony, healer of the in-between, the one who pours light into shadow and shadow into light until something whole is born. Teach us the art of blending, the medicine of balance, the grace of becoming. And let your wings soften our edges and guide us into a rhythm where nothing in us is rejected, only transformed. I now call upon the devil, keeper of the shadow, revealer of chains, the one who stands at the threshold of our freedom. I ask that you illuminate what binds us, not to shame us, but to awaken us. Show us where we've given away our power. Show us the illusions we've believed. Show us the habits, the fears, the unspoken agreements that no longer serve who we are becoming. Take a deep breath in here. And with courage, we choose to release them. We choose truth over comfort, freedom over fear, liberation over illusion. Beloved temperance, stand beside us as we call back and take back our power. And devil card, stand before us as the mirror that reveals the doorway. And together, guide us into the alchemy of wholeness. Take a deep breath in and out. Where light and shadow dance, where truth brings freedom, where we return to ourselves. May balance rise within us. May clarity move through us. May liberation anchor around us. And may we walk forward as one who is no longer fragmented, but fully claimed, fully conscious, and fully free. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Amen. Aho, and so it is. Take a deep breath in and out. It is done. And when you're ready, open your eyes.
Wow. Thank you.
Of course.
That was beautiful. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So this concludes our episode for today. I hope, you enjoyed it as much as we did. This went deep, and we had so much fun kinda digging into these, different
Ooh,
areas, topics of the cards.
yeah,
We'll put some journal prompts in the channel in the show notes, if you're wanting to go a little bit deeper. Um
yes.
on some of these questions to start kind of sparking some of the awareness around it. And make sure to subscribe if you're not subscribed so that you get notified when our next episode goes live. And if you know anyone who might enjoy this podcast, make sure to send it to them. There's a lot of awareness that can come through these kinds of conversations. And I think people are really hungry for that kind of awareness, that kind of depth, that kind of meaning. And that's what we're here to do, is spread a little bit more of those things. So thank you, everyone.
And, and next week we'll continue with that same theme. We're gonna bring in the tower
Oh,
and the star. It's gonna be
oh,
beautiful.
it's
Yeah.
so good. Oh my gosh, make sure to show up for that one though. It's going to be another deep, lots of
Yeah.
deep depth. Okay.
Yeah. All
That's
right,
what
my
we
loves. Mwah.
expect.
See you
Bye.
soon. Bye.